a rapid pace. A blockbuster vision at matinee rates. I know a B-budget beauty with impeccable taste should get you what you need to put a smile on your face with just the right blend of leather and lace. Madam Grindhouse is gonna be your guide to a weird, wild, wonderful world waiting inside. Step right up, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. She's here to provide Madam Grindhouse.
Hello, my little sprocket friends and cinematic masochists. It's me, Madam Grindhouse, your cinematrix of the silver screen. And what? Yes, I look different. It happens. I get bored with a look and I change things up. It's one of the perks of the job. It may happen again, it may not, we'll see. Alright? Alright. Now that that's addressed, let's talk about tonight's feature. Once National Lampoon's Animal House became a runaway hit in 1978, it immediately spawned a new subgenre, the college sex comedy. And everybody from the major studios to the exploitation underground took advantage of it, leaving to well-known studio fare like Porky's and Revenge of the Nerds, to lesser-known gems like Up the Creek to, well, movies like this one. Tonight's feature presentation, H.O.T.S. H.O.T.S' premise is basically a gender-flipped Animal House. What if we had the misfit fraternity that causes shenanigans on campus, but rather than a bunch of horny dudes, it's a bunch of horny chicks instead, and they get naked? A lot. Yeah, that's pretty much the movie in a nutshell. Which I guess is to be expected when your cast includes two Playboy playmates, Susan Kiger and Pamela Jean Bryant, a script co-written by the star of the Ginger trilogy of exploitation movies, and Danny fucking Bonaducci of the Partridge Family. Oh yeah, strap in, gang. This one's a doozy. Let's take a look at H.O.T.S. Yeah, this pretty much sets the tone for the whole movie. We then go to... I take it back. This is the best movie ever made. Okay, I'll try to keep the raging lust from coloring my opinions of this movie too much. This is Honey Shane, played by Susan Kiger, and she's ostensibly our lead character. As she gets dressed, we actually get some setup for the climax of the movie.
And the referee should have called a penalty for illegal use of hands.
And a middle school grasp of sexual innuendo. In addition to Honey, we also meet our main antagonist, Melody Ragmore, president of the Pie sorority. Because it's always the Pie sorority, isn't it? Anyway, Melody is just an outright catty bitch who we're supposed to hate immediately.
You know that she worked 3 years as a car hop to get enough money to be able to go to school? Can you imagine a car hop? Why, honey, we didn't know you were there.
After Melody and her underling fuck off, Honey gets comforted by 3 other Pie sorority rejects, Samantha, Terry Lynn, and Ginny O'Hara. And Terry gives Honey an idea.
The best way to get back at a gal is to steal her man away.
That's it! Terry, you're wonderful!
Which takes us to the credits. The Great American Dream Machine Movie Company? That's the longest damn movie production company I've ever seen. And I used to be a script supervisor on fly-by-night porn shoots made by even more improbably named shell companies. Now, you might expect that this movie goes the Revenge of the Nerds route, showing how these 4 round up other rejected pledges, form the hot sorority. They say it isn't one, but we'll get into that in a minute, and ultimately triumph over the Pies, right? Well, kind of, but not really. The formation of H.O.T.S is pretty much covered during the opening credits. The 4 leads get their pledges, including 2 who actually get names. Klutz, the plus-size physical comic relief, and Boom Boom Bangs, who gets her nickname for obvious reasons. Her hair is immaculate. Anyway, by the end of the credits, H.O.T.S is fully established and the pledges are full members, as is the new crop of Pie pledges.
Let me remind you that PI stands for Perfectly Ideal Girls.
Perfectly ideal girls. Melody,
That smells pig.
Somewhere, the ghost of Dorothy Parker is planning to haunt the producers of this movie. So like a lot of these movies, there isn't really one plot, but a bunch of vignettes that eventually lead to a climax. To kick off their campaign of man-swiping domination, H.O.T.S throws a party, promising a daring feat that Boom Boom will perform.
Here's about her feet.
I have a question of my own. If these guys are typical of dudes on this campus, why would the H.O.T.S girls want to steal them? And even more relevant, why in the hell would the Pie girls want them in the first place? Oh yeah, get used to this running gag too.
Does that mean what I think it means?
What do you think it means?
Hands off those suckers.
I promise you, the actual answer is even more dumb than what the running gag says it is. Oh, and here's where Bonaducci enters the movie, if you were wondering.
Y'all gonna join us?
Join you, y'all falling apart.
Oh, no, Richie, but it looks like you are.
'Cause she's heavy. Get it? Alright, enough of me getting mad about jokes that were lazy and outdated when this movie was made. Let's talk about how the shenanigans start. Because Boom Boom's stunt is skydiving into the house's swimming pool.
Wearing nothing but a parachute, a bikini, and a great big smile.
Thank you, Bonaducci, for smearing smarm all over my perfectly good mental image. Anyway, just in case college sex hijinks isn't enough for you, the movie decides to drop in another plot line when two escaped crooks, Charlie and Bugs, start targeting the house because the money they stole years ago just so happens to be hidden in the house where H.O.T.S have set up shop. Except they don't know exactly where in the house it is because their other partner just died and he didn't tell them. Oh, and Bugs' last name is Benny, just so you know exactly what to expect going into this storyline. Plus, Terry's making moonshine in the attic, which is attracting bees. Yes, this is relevant. Meanwhile, Melody is attending a party thrown by the dean and sends her little toadies to ruin the H.O.T.S party by putting hot sauce in the chili. Girls, I don't think you know what in the hell you're doing. Especially when you get caught on camera when one of the dudes overreacts to the chili. You know, a lot has already happened here. How far are we into this thing? Only 20 minutes? Jesus. Okay, let's pick up the pace a little. Boom Boom makes her jump, and the predictable happens.
I have never seen such outrageous behavior by the female members of our student body.
Pfft. You clearly never went to my college, then. So far, all this is amateur hour in my book. Get back to me when you set a world record for largest orgy in a single college dorm room. We almost got 150 in there before the fire marshal shut us down. What? So the dean nearly has an aneurysm. We get another supposed meaning of what H.O.T.S stands for.
Everyone, meet Slinky. Help out the seals.
And now there's a seal in the movie. And finally, H.O.T.S is told they have to conform to the same rules and standards of any other sorority. One of the rules is that they have to have a house mother, who they soon hire. Her name is technically a Zeta, but it's never said on screen. I call her the H.O.T.S Mama, and she is the most relatable character in this entire movie.
No more. No more, honey. Stand right here. Don't you move. And what do you want?
I must somehow pick up the pieces of my shattered life.
Well, since you're picking up pieces, I sure wish you'd come over here and pick up some of these.
God, I love her. Anyway, when the team gets back to the house, things escalate thanks to an admittedly pretty well-designed booby trap the Pies set up for them, which starts the obligatory prank war. Hey, should we maybe move the camera so the audience can't see the restraining rope keeping the balloon in shot? Are you out of your fucking mind, Ted? Do you know how much that'll cost? My brother-in-law's already bleeding me dry with the balloon rental. After the balloon attack, Klutz gets smacked with mud pies, and we get a scene which implies Sam has something planned to ruin Melody's time at homecoming. This is never followed up on. And Honey gets her own plan going when Melody's boyfriend, Doug Shannon, shows up at the house for his jacket, which I guess he left at the party. No, wait. He was at the dean's party with Melody when that was going on, so when the hell did he leave the jacket at the H.O.T.S house? And why is Honey saying Boom Boom was supposed to give it to him? What the hell ended up on the cutting room floor?
Space is warped and time is bendable.
Hey, we don't do that here, no matter how appropriate it is. Besides, I think we made a mistake. Hang on a sec. Okay. Here it is. Doug gave Boom Boom his jacket to cover up with when she got out of the pool. Sorry, gang, that one's my fault. Or possibly the producer's, considering he also writes the scripts. While Honey takes Doug to the pool, while Honey takes Doug in the pool, Melody's little toady Cynthia becomes the next target in the prank war. While Cynthia's getting pounded in the back of her boyfriend's van, Sam leads the rest of H.O.T.S and their guys in swiping their clothes, trapping them in the van, and then towing it away. Right to the middle of campus.
Cynthia, you don't have to broadcast it.
Yeah, just wait 40 years and get an OnlyFans like everyone else. Oh wait, there were a couple of crooks trying to get in the house, weren't there?
I do not do windows.
Well, I guess he don't do windows.
I told you this was gonna get cartoonish. Obviously that's Bugs in the robot suit, who tries and fails to clean in that outfit while Charlie looks for the money. Although I think Bugs gets the better deal out of the two.
Oh, he's absolutely precious. Oh, I could just hug him to death.
I will do windows. I will do anything.
Lucky bastard. Anyway, the crooks get kicked out when Slinky disconnects the vacuum hose. And if you thought this movie had too many plot lines already, we get another one when Mad Dog, the hot air balloon pilot we saw earlier, and one of the other dudes who turns out to be O'Hara's boyfriend, kidnap the mascot from FU's rival school. This bit is only here for two reasons. One, to put a car chase in this movie for no good reason, and two, to put a goddamn bear in this movie for no good reason. After the chase, Mad Dog and Dude make an emergency bathroom run at a gas station, but it just so happens the van is identical to another van, which just so happens to belong to Charlie and Bugs.
Hey guys, guess who made this week's cover of Stupid Coincidence magazine?
Note to self, have the Roxy fumigated for memes again. Naturally, Charlie and Bugs get into the wrong van and drive off, unaware that there is, I will remind you, a goddamn bear in the back of it. But they find out pretty damn quick when they get back to the H.O.T.S house.
Wait for me.
So, to recap where we are, there's been a lot of pranks, a lot of sex, a lot of tits, a lot of moron dudes, a couple of idiot crooks, a seal, a goddamn bear, and about 50 minutes left to go in this movie. So what's the next thing that happens? I would like to take this moment to assure our viewers that the producer and editor of this show did not put that music into that clip. That is entirely the movie's own damn fault. So the dean finds out what's been going on and shows up to find out just what the hell the H.O.T.S are up to, but they're ready for that and wind up spilling drinks over his suit. While it's getting clean, he starts sneaking around the house, suspecting there's still no clue how the hell he even has any idea they're making moonshine, but whatever. Terry catches him, but the dean turns ugly and locks them both in the attic, chasing Terry up onto the roof. Fortunately, before this movie does a sharp turn into Ms. 45 territory, Mad Dog and O'Hara's boyfriend, who have been looking for the bear in the hot air balloon, literally catch the dean with his pants down, which gives H.O.T.S enough blackmail material to get him off their backs. After a wet t-shirt contest, and Honey and Melody trying to kill each other afterwards, the third act of this movie finally gets set up when the two of them decide to settle things once and for all with, what else? A strip football contest. Told you that conversation at the beginning of the movie was setting this up. So next... Did the movie just turn into one of those commercials for bad soft rock compilations that used to be on late night TV?
Yes, with the new H.O.T.S Summer Nights collection, you can enjoy the finest songs ever composed by the members of H.O.T.S, including Make Me Your Woman, Help Yourself to Me, Hot Air Balloon to Ecstasy, Midnight Poolside Lovin', Love Means Never Having to Go to Jail for Blackmail, There's a Goddamn Bear in the Attic, and the top 40 hit, Melody Ragmore is a Frigid Cunt.
I think we should move on before this gets any weirder. But before we get to the end of the movie, Bonaducci decides to be a dick, claiming he slept with Terry because he's the only dude who hasn't hooked up with a H.O.T.S girl yet, so everybody else decides to teach him a lesson.
I've got an idea. If you're willing to go along with it.
Sam is both the brains of the outfit and an agent of total chaos, and I love her. And speaking of agents of chaos, Melody and one of the other Pie Girls decide to disguise themselves as Honey and O'Hara. Why?
With these disguises, we'll be able to go through the H.O.T.S house unnoticed.
Right. And then we'll put some of this itching powder into their uniform.
What are you, 6? But we'll get back to them in a minute. Meanwhile, Bonaducci shows up at Sam's invitation for dinner. And Sam, agent of chaos that she is, feeds him stew laced with saltpeter. And if you don't know what happens to dudes when they ingest that stuff...
Honey, after a bowl that he ain't gonna get up for a week.
Well, that's great. Thanks.
A month.
And when Sam gets him up to her room, a hidden camera broadcasts Bonaducci admitting he lied about sleeping with Terry, and then the real comeuppance happens. Well, maybe not comeuppance exactly.
I said no!
I don't understand.
And just to tie this thread off, let's have some implied accidental bestiality.
Oh, kiss me. Smile, you're on candid camera.
While all this is going on, Melody and her flunky showed up, still disguised as Honey and O'Hara. But this backfires on both of them when the flunky gets accidentally doused with the itching powder, and Melody gets grabbed by Cynthia and a couple of dudes from the rival school, mistaking her for Honey. This does not go well for her.
This won't take long.
The next day is the football game, and while everybody's psyching themselves up, the bikini top O'Hara's wearing under her jersey breaks, causing her to go back to the house while everyone else heads for the field. But what she doesn't know is Charlie and Bugs are back at the house, taking the opportunity to look for the money while everyone's out. But she finds them in short order.
Who the hell are you?
Oh, pest control, miss. I'm looking for Bugs.
I'm in here.
Criminals of the century, right here, I tell ya. Back at the football game, Doug and Bonaducci run down the rules. Basically, the game is strip-touch football. Each player has 4 items of clothing, not counting their footwear. Every time a team makes a touchdown, the other team loses one. First team totally naked loses. Everybody clear? Good. Now, why do I get the feeling I'm forgetting something? Oh right, the goddamn bear in the attic. Which O'Hara and the crooks get trapped with because the door handle falls off. The game gets underway, but there's no point in trying to follow it here because the movie keeps cutting back to the attic every 30 seconds anyway. The crooks find the money, and O'Hara gets up to the roof to the hot air balloon. Boy, they really wanted to be sure they got their money's worth out of that thing. But so does the bear, or at least a PA in an unconvincing bear suit. The balloon takes off with O'Hara, the crooks, and the bear, with Mad Dog and O'Hara's boyfriend following them. And because the boys ran a red light, that gets the attention of the cops. Back at the game, Pie takes the lead with 2 touchdowns, which gets H.O.T.S down to their bikinis. The balloon shows up and the crooks drop the money, which causes chaos on the field, allowing Sam to score a touchdown for H.O.T.S. The cops show up and pretty much every dangling plot thread gets resolved. The rival university gets the goddamn bear back, the money gets collected by the cops, and Charlie and Bugs go back to jail, allowing the game to get back underway. We're almost finished with this, Turkey Gang. Let's just kind of blaze through this. With O'Hara back in play, H.O.T.S manages to even the score, but again leaving the H.O.T.S team topless, and we get the one shot in this movie, which is probably the only reason I remember it. I would like to take this opportunity to remind everyone watching on YouTube that, among the many other perks, including early access to these and many other videos, donating to patreon.com/dubiouscon also gets you uncut and uncensored versions of the episodes of my show, allowing you to see all the stuff YouTube won't let us show you. Donate today, won't you? Because you ain't seeing this shit for the rest of the sequence. We literally cannot cut around all the tits in these scenes. Oh, and I can't help but notice that Klutz has just disappeared from the movie. She was in the game earlier and got down to a bikini like everyone else, but now, poof, she's gone. Gee, I wonder what the reason for that is. H.O.T.S ties the score, but it doesn't really create any sort of suspense because they get the final touchdown immediately afterward, and Melody's bad day gets worse. Oh yeah, and I promised you'd find out what H.O.T.S actually stands for.
Honey, O'Hara, Terry, Sam.
I told you it was dumber than you thought it was. Yeah, this isn't a good movie, gang, even by the extremely generous standards of a TNA flick. Its biggest crime is that it's actually pretty boring. There's too many characters and too many plot lines, which makes it unfocused. There's no actual story, just a lot of stuff happening that barely relates to each other. And while the tits are nice when they're there, the movie is more interested in the hijinks than making it hot. In fact, this movie is padded as hell. I know I've talked a lot about the events of the movie, but there's still about 3 entire sequences that run 5 minutes or more with literally nothing happening but music and dancing, with the occasional unfunny gag. And like a lot of these movies, it hasn't aged well, especially the whole bit with the Dean trying to assault Terry. This movie isn't well thought of and largely only remembered by people who saw it on cable or home video when they were entering puberty and just wanted to see naked women on screen. There was a DVD release years ago, but it's long out of print and the only place currently legitimately streaming it is CultPix, which has been having issues of their own of late, so seeing this movie for yourself is probably going to take some work on your part. Although honestly, it's really not worth the effort. Next time, something of much more high quality, as we change formats once again to talk about how the Grindhouse also started taking over comics in the early 2010s. So join me then as I continue to show you what lurks on the other side of the silver screen.